So good afternoon, Miss Cindy. In my pre-midterms, I decided on a comparative study of creatures with good and evil duality in the Philippines, Ireland, and America. So, which I will tackle on the origins, the main topic, and my realization. So, so for my Philippine mythological creature, I chose to analyze Tiktik or Wakwak. So the main reason why I chose this particular creature is because this creature has only rarely been mentioned, at least in my case. And I've never read or seen any works, like research papers or novels about the Tiktik or Wakwak. Hence, I took it upon myself to try and analyze this creature, given its short biography and its unfound origins, which is difficult to find online. So, the Tiktik or Wakwak is considered another kind of aswang with bird-like features, and which is one of the most feared creatures in Philippine mythology. So they have vampiric traits and are dangerous. But in other Philippine traditions, Tiktik accompanies the Mananangals in its hunt. So they have this creepy sound that warns people of their coming. Although the sound may confuse people before, but now considering how they knew about the Tiktik sound or voice, in my interpretation, it's now considered a good omen or a good trait. So Filipinos now know that if the sound is closer, then the monsters are far away, and then vice versa. So although Tik-Tik or Wak-Waks are inherently evil, the warning sound that they emit may be a good trait. So, but a bad trait may still be superior to the good one. So, because the Tik-Tik is a vampiric creature, after aside from its aswang counterparts, Tik-Tik is the only aswang with a good trait because the voice itself warns people of the danger that's about to come. So, which is considered a good trait in my analysis. So let's proceed to the first creature that I can um, compare and contrast to this particular creature. So the first creature is Puka from Ireland. So this is a creature where it's a shapeshifter or a changeling. So it basically turns into humans and animals such as horse, donkeys, cat, dogs, bulls, and even young men and beautiful women. So they can deceive people. They can even copy human speech, which is outstanding in itself. And so Irish ancestors even claimed it to be associated with the devil. So the creature is revered more rather than feared. Like they're respected more than they are feared because Puka is a creature with both a helpful and a menacing trait. So it's like another creature of duality. In some parts of Ireland, pukas tend to uh, wreak ha- uh, they tend to wreak havoc every night, which is where humans get the narrative that pukas harm humans. So even if there was no proof yet, like it's just oral passing that just because they trick or deceive or play tricks every night, they're now harmful to humans, which they're not. And they're considered mischievous and quick-witted. So the good traits that pukas have is that they sometimes help farmers and they provide prophecies and warnings if people ask them. After all, they can copy human speech. So puka is a good example of good and evil duality because it is considered a fertility spirit, which has the power to create and destroy. So it's a really powerful creature. So, and then the second creature is Pakwaji from America. So, but I'll describe the version from the Native Americans because it makes more sense. They are small, mischievous and deadly creatures. So they are associated with malevolence towards humans, such as kidnapping children, pushing people off a cliff, attacking with their short knives and spears, using sand to blind them, or persuading people to commit suicide. So it's a creature full of evil actions and thoughts. So what is the good side of a Pakwaji? Like it's really evil. So how can you consider such an evil creature with having a good trait? So believe it or not, Native Americans said that these malicious creatures used to get along with humans. So they were like helpful and kind before. They used to help the humans before, but then the humans, specifically the Wampanoag tribe, they deemed these creatures as a nuisance because they actually respect a giant more. Uh, the name of the giant is Giant Maushop. So this tribe asked the giant Maushop to get rid of them. So yeah, like the giant threw them out of the area and it managed to slaughter a lot of these creatures. Like the Pakwaji were slaughtered, a lot of them. So because of this brutal way of communicating with these creatures, the Pakwajis hated them. Like they turned these helpful actions to hatred for the humans. See, that's like a big misfortune right there. So yeah, basically their good intentions have been changed to hatred. So these creatures are so yeah, these three creatures are small. Most can fly and most can shapeshift. So they all have good and evil duality traits to them, which can be a reason for their misconception or misunderstanding. So their evil traits may have caused a misconception in terms of how humans are fearful or respectful of them more than they recognize their own good qualities. So it's the evil traits are more apparent than the good ones. So my main thesis or the main topic that I've realized from these three creatures with the good and evil duality is that um, it relates to how humans have unwarranted fear towards certain animals. So it's kind of like small but mighty kind of thing. And anyway, like Filipinos and Irish. Wait, let me just. Okay, the Filipinos and Irish fear some particular animals due to the influence of the Tiktik or Wakwak and the Puka. So due to a misconception of Puka and Pakwiji, people tend to change their narrative by providing justice to inhumane actions caused by humans. In this sense, the situation is quite similar to how humans abused animals and they created rumors that aren't true. So the example of this is how bats and Philippine flying lemurs are all being hunted down before by Filipinos because these animals shared the same or like they shared similar voices to the Tiktik or Wakwak. So Filipinos feared the lemurs and the bats just because of it, and they all died because of that misconception or misunderstanding. And in a more modern example, the more modern example is that how people abuse black cats since they are considered unlucky. So it's because of the fear of misfortune that they go around telling rumors that these cats are unlucky. So and now today they are struggling to find a home which accepts them. So um okay, I may have downloaded the wrong PowerPoint, so I'll just explain the cultural differences of each country's witch lore. So I didn't add it here. So anyway, Ireland tend to have maternal figures caring for the earth itself as well as their descendants, and they also have defenders, teachers, and warriors. So basically, Ireland beach lore aim for craft and healing from from the gathered materials from nature or from their surroundings. Meanwhile, America, specifically the natives, their rich lore usually contains benevolent and malicious creatures. But since they are considered to be very powerful, uh, the Native Americans often respected these creatures rather than fear them. So it's kind of similar to the present Western beliefs where they aim to or where they strive for power and gain. So it's basically that. And the Philippines usually just base their creatures on history, such as like the colonization, the oppression, and the unjust treatment that we have faced. So yeah, in regards to these differences, I deduced an idea, which is how each of these cultural differences bring order and conformity to the world, as good wouldn't exist without evil. So each has evil elements in them where the good traits learn to live among its chaos. So on to the next slide is my realization from all of this. So my realization is, wait, okay, my realization in all of this is that fortune and misfortune aren't necessarily a bad thing as long as it gives its shares to the world equally. So, like misfortune gives us lessons, while fortune gives us blessings. So it's like a win-win situation. It's similar to the idea of the good and evil duality, as long as it's like given equally and not unjustly. So, and another realization that I've come to realize is that the saying, the yin yang, means that the good shall prevail while the evil shall be defeated. However, in this case, it can be reversed because these evil creatures with the duality can actually surpasses the good trait. So due to the creature's overpowering evil trait, it led to the humans' unwarranted fear towards animals similar to these malicious creatures. So all I can deduce from this is that these creatures are evil to begin with due to the unjust treatment that they have received and the oppression that they felt from the humans, even as they tried to help. So, so which concludes that the misconceptions actually cause chaos and they are the way they are because of how they're being treated. So it might even be a good thing to be evil. So humans may learn a lesson or two. So that's this. So lastly, these creatures are small but deadly. It goes to show that one must not judge merely on appearances alone. So the world already faced some sort of high discrimination after all. So it's kind of also similar to that. And then these are the sources that I have looked into for this information. So yeah, so thank you so much for listening.